4 ways to purify and filter water. I'm sure some of you experts out there or people that have had a lot more experience could come up with more. Gravity, and we're going to show some gravity filters or purifiers. Pump type, light emitting device, and chlorine or iodine tablets. Now, I'd like to interject right here that it's always good to have a backup. Being a rock climber and a mountain climber, redundancy is one of our tenets that we really adhere to very strictly. You always don't want to be tied in with one knot. You use 2. You always have a redundant system, always have a backup, or chlorine or iodine tablets. So here are various types of filters. Number 1, you have a gravity. Number 2 is a pump. Number 3 is a little straw where you fill the thing up there with life straw, where you can fill up your container with contaminated water. And as you pull water through the straw, the filter's within the straw, and it purifies the water. And Nancy had one of these Catadine Be-Freeze, and like she said, you can fill that and you squeeze it, and the water shoots out purified. And then the one on the end is a Sawyer, and I have had some not very good luck with that, and I'll extrapolate on that and explain more as we go along. Okay, here's what they call, this is an inline filter, and you can use this with a Camelback, or I'm not sure what they call it, I don't have one, but you can fill your Camelback or your bladder that goes in the pack, and this portion of it goes screws into the bladder, and then you suck on it and the water comes out purified. The pros, you can quickly fill the Camelback. It doesn't take a lot of time. You drink as needed. Nancy talked about that. You need to drink water a little bit at a time and not binge drink. There's no need to stop and filter it. You just scoop up some water and away you go. Some of the cons or bad things about it, not bad things, but negatives, it's only used for one person. And then your bag gets contaminated. You're on a trip for 7 days and you've had yucky water in your Camelback, and it may get some bacteria growing, especially if the weather's fairly warm. Can you see this cursor? Okay, good. I'll use it for a pointer right there. That's the MSR water filter, inline water filter. Gotta have a pointer. Here's a gravity type of filter, so purifier. This one's a 4-liter system, 130, 140 bucks. Filters a large amount of water, can service a large group. The actual filter is larger, resulting in more water per cleaning. Now, one of the things with the water filter is the filters clog because you get foreign material in there and it clogs the filter. So the majority of them, I think all of them actually, have a method of cleaning the filter. Some of the negatives on it are they're heavier, it takes a long time, and again, your storage bag has unfiltered water in it, which is going to, I think, be a problem. I used to canoe with a guy a lot. We did a lot of canoe expeditions, and he called Camelbacks bacteria traps, which I don't know. There's pros and cons, and I'm still on the fence using a Camelback. I think that being able to drink more as you go along is a plus. You know, I have to stop, and my water bottle's on the side of my pack, so I have to dig it out. But I haven't come to a conclusion yet. Here's another gravity type. This lady is using it out here, and that looks like a Catadine. And you see how nice and easy that is? She just looks so clean and happy. There's no bugs around. She's not slapping at bugs. She doesn't have one of those masks on her head. But I can see some negatives on this right now. What would happen if she did not secure the outlet tube and all your water just drained on the ground? So you'd have to be careful. There's pros and cons, the same pros and cons as we had on the other one. Now we're going to get into pumps. I have both of these. I have one of each of these. This one in the little square picture with the hand holding it is a good little pump for 1 to 2 people. Uh, Easy, the filter gets clogged pretty easy. Nice little filter. I really like it. I take it when I go backpacking by myself or just with one other person. They're both MSR, Safety Resource. The other one on the left is a little bit bigger. Filter's bigger, doesn't clog so well. It's for groups. You can use that for 4 or 5 people, and it works better. Now, one of the things that you see this down here on the bottom of the end of the hose, that's the inlet. And so if you take, there's a little spongy thing down there that kind of pre-filters the water before it gets into the filter, kind of filters out the big stuff. If that thing sinks down in the bottom of the creek or lake and starts sucking up mud, you're going to find your filter really, really quick. And so it's really important to keep that floating. Well, I saw another filter. I was researching this, and it actually had a square pad about 2 inches square, and it would float on the surface. And that was the pre-filter there, and I thought that was pretty. Squeeze types, lightweight, single person. There's that same Be Free that Nancy had on hers. Single person, they clog easiest. Now, I went to Daniel last summer, and there was 5 of us. 3 people took one of these, and I took this one here, this hand pump, because I figured, these are pros here. They know what they're doing. None of them worked. They got up to the lake. None of these little smaller catch filters worked. I don't know if it was exactly this time, but what you do with these is you fill the reservoir and you hook the filter to it, and then you squeeze it, and then the water supposedly shoots out. But this water didn't shoot out, and so we ended up using my little single person pump hand filter for 5 people, and it was a long and tedious process in getting water and cleaning it out all the time. So I don't know. It all depends. You can use these and save some weight, but brings up a really important thing. Try your gear out before you go somewhere. I was going camping with a guy, and it was raining, and it was dark, and he said, "Hey, Dave, help me set up my tent." And I said, "It was still in the box." I said, "Have you set it up?" "No." So we were in the dark, it was raining, and we were setting up the tent, and neither one of us had any idea to do. I always try out my filters. I always try out my stove before I go on a trip, just to make sure that we're good to go and everything's going to work all right. The next one, light emitting filters. I actually had one of these, and I took it back. I had 2 other filters. I had iodine pills. I had chlorine pills, and I really wasn't confident that the light was working all the time. And so I found myself using chlorine pills in addition to this, and I took it back. I've read some reviews on these things, and I don't know, maybe I'm not thinking the right way, but I might get one. It can be used in conjunction, in conjunction with filters. You can filter the water and then use the light emitting filter. This is a scary pin. Batteries seem to work right. They're safe, works on UV light. It works on viruses. Some of the other filters don't filter out viruses. So it depends on where you're going, what problems they have in the water, what pests and bacteria, and if there's viruses in the water where you're going. And in Asia and Nepal and things, I guess they have lots of viruses, and so it would be important to have one of these. It doesn't work with murky water. If you've got little floaters, if you've got flavonoids in there, it's not going to clear it out. It's going to create a shadow, and the little bacteria are going to be hiding behind the shadow. And when you get done, they're going to come out and get you. Okay? So we got that. Now we're going to go to chlorine and iodine tablets. This portable agua is my backup. I always have pills. We talk about getting water on the mountains where you take I think Casey mentioned it, where you take a plastic bag and you put it in a black garbage sack and you leave it in the sun and water melts. And we were on Rainier, we were doing that because you always have 2 2 liters to climb, and you want to have some water before you go. Nancy said drink 16 ounces of water, and you might even want to do more than that. But we held up these bags when the water was, when the snow was water, and you could see critters swimming around in there. Oh no, the guy said, it ain't gonna hurt. I'm thinking, dude, I don't want to drink critters. So anyway, this is my go-to. I'm not real excited about iodine. One of the things with the tablets is it really depends upon the temperature of the water. If anybody drinks iced tea and they try to put water in iced tea when you get it at a restaurant and there's ice cubes in there and it's cold, it's really hard for the sugar to dissolve. But if you put that in warm water, then it dissolves really quickly and really easily. And this is both of these items are the same. They take the warmer the water, the quicker that it dissolves. You should wait probably 30 minutes. The packages have instructions on how to use the products. I really like potable agua. Like I said, I carry them. I use them a lot. Sometimes when you're boiling water, you're low on fuel, so you just get the water liquid, and I'll just put it in my downstream bottle and drop a chlorine tablet, and I'm good to go. I thought I had more. Anyway, summary, it is very important to purify and sterilize drinking water. There are many ways to do so, some more realistic than others. I don't know about putting leaves in a bag. I'm not sure how much water you get out of a baggie full of leaves. The method you choose depends on group size, budget, your budget, travel destination, depending on what kind of bugs they have in the water, and personal preference. I like manual things. I like things that work that I can take apart. And if it doesn't work, I can disassemble it and I can clean it. Or if it's leaking somewhere, I can fix it. The light emitting sources, I really would hesitate to start getting the screwdriver to that thing and working on it. But the filters, if you get used to them at home, when you get out to the woods, then you can work on them and get familiar with your stuff. There are other filters you can buy, but I didn't mention due to time constraints. There's straws where you can just lay down on your belly and stick the straw in the water and pull water out of it, and it filters it as it comes. So boiling. Now this is the go-to method. Everybody has. I know I'm breaking the rules because I have this written down in its small type, and people are going to have a hard time reading it. Because enteric pathogens are killed within seconds by boiling water and are killed rapidly at temperatures 60 to 140 degrees. The traditional advice to boil water for 10 minutes to ensure potability is excessive. When you cook chicken, if it gets to 160 degrees, you can eat it. So if your water's at 160 degrees, all the bugs are dead. And if you heat it up to 100 or 212 degrees, that's going to even increase your margin of safety. If you really want to, and boil it for another minute, or keep the water covered and then allow it to cool slowly, then it can add another safety of margin of safety. Now, we all know that the boiling point decreases with increasing altitude, but it's really not significant when compared to the time required to achieve thermal death at these temperatures. And this was taken from the water disinfectant for international and wilderness travel. So, in summary of all of that, here you go. You got your water. Go forth, backpack safely. Don't get bugs. Don't get diarrhea. Have a good time. Thank you very much.